Do you remember how it felt when you played good superhero games? Now, I know you're probably like, yeah, I just finished Spider-Man 2. And while you're not wrong, I do think Spider-Man 2 is a good game. That's not what I mean. Back in the early 2000s, we had a ton of superhero games. Some were good and some were just horrible. But there was a good amount of games that was coming out so that even if a game did terrible, it didn't sting as much. Compared to now where if a superhero game does terrible, the whole industry feels it. Now, to understand how bad superhero games have gotten, we first got to talk about how good superhero games were. I'm talking about games like the OG Spider-Man game, Hulk Ultimate Destruction, X-Men Legends, or Ultimate Alliance. We could even throw in some of my favorite games during that time, which was Batman Rise of Sin Tzu and X2 Wolverine's Revenge. But the point is that we had some very solid superhero games. And like I said previously, some were good and some were bad. But that all changed in 2009 when Rocksteady released one of the best superhero games to ever come out. Yes, I'm talking about Batman Arkham Asylum. This game changed the standard for superhero games. The combat was great, the story was amazing, the stealth missions was awesome, the voice cast was stacked. They was able to get the legendary Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill to reprise their roles as Batman and Joker. And while this was groundbreaking for superhero gaming, they set the bar even higher in 2011 with their sequel Batman Arkham City, which is highly regarded as the best game in the series, and rightfully so. The foundation that was laid out from the Arkham series even inspires today's games like the Insomniac Spider-Man series.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
But to continue the trend of good games coming out, we would also get good fighting games such as DC vs Mortal Kombat, Marvel vs Capcom 3, Injustice, and so on. Like, just think about it. From 2002 up until 2013, we were fed classics. If you wanted a single player story mode game, they had that. If you wanted a multiplayer story mode game, they had that. But enough talking about the past. Let's talk about the state of today's superhero games. I think that we're at an all-time low for superhero games, and that's due to 3 games that have came out recently. And it starts with Marvel Avengers. This was the first big superhero game that turned out to be a huge letdown for me. At the time, we were coming off of the MCU hype of Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, so naturally the stocks was high for this game, and boy did it not deliver.
I fell down to my knees when the law came.
The story was meh, the gameplay was repetitive, every mission felt just about the same, and for me personally, it just wasn't fun. I forgot to mention that this was the first live service game for the superhero genre. Due to the success of live service games like Fortnite, Apex Legends, and Destiny, many companies have tried to do their own version to make as much money as possible, even with us fans begging them not to. And this was one of the first games where microtransactions was introduced, which caused a big controversy because Square Enix said that they were only going to use microtransactions for cosmetic purposes, but they introduced the XP boost, which basically made it pay to win. Overall, the game ended up dying after a couple years, and the president of Square Enix declared that the game was a commercial disappointment due to not being able to make a profit. But yeah, this game was just a disappointment. The next game that did irreparable damage to the superhero gaming community is Gotham Knights. This game's story was centered around Batman's sidekicks, Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, and Red Hood, which is a pretty interesting take for a Batman game. Sadly, it couldn't live up to the hype. Now, I have to say that this game was absolute trash. Probably one of the worst Batman games that I've played in my entire life. It's tough because I remember watching the DC Fandom trailer and being extremely excited for the game, just to play it and be extremely disappointed. The story, trash. The gameplay, trash. Riding around the city, trash. The side missions, I can't lie, I did like the Clayface side mission, but the rest, trash. Honestly, outside of that Clayface mission, I can't name anything else that I really liked about the game. Now, I know that you're probably like, why are you going so hard on this game? It's because this game was made by WB Montreal, a studio that made Batman Arkham Origins, which is personally one of my favorite Arkham games. So I know that they could have done way better than what they actually did. Now, the final nail in the coffin for bad superhero games comes from Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. When this game first came out, I had a 10-minute rant that I was going to post on the channel, but I decided not to upload it. And it was probably for the better because I was just seeing red. I didn't like the story, and like Avengers, this game looks very repetitive. Fortunately for me, this is the only game out of the 3 that I haven't played, but the writing is on the wall. And it was reported that WB took a $200 million loss from this game. So there's no question that this game flopped. Now I know you're probably like, what about Guardians of the Galaxy or Marvel Midnight Suns? I personally really enjoyed the Guardians game. It was a really fun and unique story that made me even more of a fan of the Guardians. But sadly, Square Enix stated that this game failed to meet sales expectations as well. And that's really unfortunate because it was a good game. And the same could be said for Midnight Suns. I'm currently playing the game right now and I'm really enjoying it. And while I like it, the CEO of Take-Two Interactive came out and said that the game was a commercial flop, leading to the last 5 out of 6 superhero games failing sales-wise. I believe that it's time for us to do a cold hard reset. Spider-Man can't keep carrying superhero games. We need creativity again. We need to stop forcing live service games. We need games that are made from passion and not games that are made to hit a quota. Now I know that we have a couple games coming up like Bethesda's Blade, Marvel Rivals, and the Captain America and Black Panther game, so I guess we'll have to just wait and see if there's a change. But that's all I got for this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Shanadachi, and I'm out.